thousands, no, tens of thousands, of battles, creating a mana core is a piece of cake. But if it were that easy, he wouldn't be part of the strongest 7 of the land. Using the method from that half-burned book on magic he picked up, and with the natural mana core humans have, Ghislain is able to create a second and even a third. He connects them in a mesh of multiple cores to create an explosive force. All this pushing his limits causes blood to leak from his mouth and nose, his face drenched in sweat. I guess he's reached his current limit. Although he was able to reach 5 cores in his past life, this technique is all about creating an explosive force in a short time. The catch is that it requires an extremely large amount of mana in return. This was the main reason he lost to Eden in his past life, who had brought an entire Knight Order when he was already out of mana. If it had been a fair fight, he definitely would have won. The technique is inherently unstable, but for now, it's good enough. Besides, this time, he has a youthful body and plenty of time to master it. He's determined that he'll claim Eden's head this time, and those bastards backing House Delphine, who helped destroy their country, they're going down too. Fast forward a week, and the day of the festival finally arrives. Our boy is ready, fully equipped, and walking through town with unshakable confidence. But as he strolls, he spots his sister standing there, who is surprised to see him. She's shocked that her brother, who's never been a fan of festivals, actually showed up. Not only that, but he's been acting super odd lately, and she's heard he's done nothing but train for the past week. Ghislain tries to brush it off, reminding her that as the next in line of a knight family, training is just a natural thing for him. But she throws a brutal curveball, reminding him how he's always hated the idea of being lord, which is one of the main reasons he never got along with their father. Despite the jab, she starts to walk away with a smile over her face, as she is glad to see him finally acting like he was supposed to. Her remark forces Ghislain to reflect on how his actions have started to change, not just how people perceive him, but also the trajectory of his future. The general flow of events might still be the same, but it's becoming harder to gauge the impact of his actions on the smaller details. Making good use of his knowledge of the future is now his responsibility, and he needs to respond to each situation effectively. With that said, he is ready to face his sister's killers. Later, he spends time with his sister, staying on high alert. After a while, though, Elena gets tired, commenting that there's nothing special about the festival. It's just like every other year. Meanwhile, Ghislain is deep in thought, realizing the festival is almost over and yet nothing significant has happened. This leads him to believe that maybe the future has shifted because he's been sticking close to Elena. But just as that thought crosses his mind, her bodyguards show up. They suggest taking her to a livelier area of the festival to have some fun. As they begin escorting her away, Ghislain quickly pieces things together. He deduces that it must be these bastards, the traitors of their house. Elena's escort knights, Jamal and Philip, are the most trusted knights in the family. They've been protecting Elena since she was a child, and it was known that they were murdered while protecting her in Ghislain's past life. But now Ghislain has lingering doubts. It must be a trap, and he is sure that these guys are the traitors of their house. So he decides to follow the knights. The place they arrive at is completely empty, which leaves Elena clearly annoyed, and she starts complaining. While she complains, Ghislain's suspicions grow even stronger. At first, the street might seem like a simple deserted one, but looking at the way the obstacles block the escape routes, it's clear that preparations were made in advance. He's soon shaken out of his thoughts when his sister starts dragging him with her. Seeing how strong her grip is, Ghislain can't help but to ask her if she has been hitting the gym lately, because she is too strong for a young lady. But just then, Jamal stops her, and the look on his face makes it clear that he doesn't have good intentions. Elena starts to shiver and begins to panic, wondering why they're acting so strange. Jamal quickly apologizes for the scary look, but then his expression twists into something even more unsettling. He tells her that he just wants her to wait a little longer. It's only a small request. Elena feels scared and hopeless, and just at that moment, someone walks into the scene. It's a guy with glasses, followed closely by 2 of his goons. The guy's name is Frank, and he's clearly pleased to see how effectively Jamal has executed the plan. He then questions Jamal about Ghislain, because he does not remember requesting this sucker to be here. Jamal reassures his boss that he'll take care of this brat and that Frank doesn't even need to pay for it. He explains that Ghislain foolishly followed his sister without realizing he was walking straight into his own grave. Finally, Ghislain speaks up. The first thing he wants to ask this filthy bastard how he is going to get away after betraying Perdium family. The bastard just snickers with little to no fear, claiming that all he has to do is run away to some far-off place. Besides, he's tired of this poverty-stricken land that's already been torn apart by barbarians. He's sure that it's not just him, but plenty of others want to leave Perdium too. But before he can finish speaking, my guy cuts him off. Instead of words, blood pours from his mouth. The sight is enough to shock everyone watching. As the traitor falls to the ground in 2 pieces, my guy looks at him furious. He reminds this sucker that even if people are leaving this place, they never betrayed them. He is absolutely livid and shoots a deadly glare at the other bastard, who, in a panic, pulls Lena closer, hoping to escape the same fate as his friend. But well, he doesn't make it. A sword pierces his skull and the bastard trembles, choking on his last breaths. The lackeys who came with Frank start second-guessing whether they should even fight. What baffles them more is if this guy is really the eldest son of Perdium. As far as they know, he doesn't have any real combat experience or basic training. Frank, though, is convinced he's the eldest son, but he still can't wrap his head around how this guy managed to take down two men so effortlessly. And, more shocking, his attacks were infused with mana. Meanwhile, the girl clings to her brother, trembling, but he knocks her out with a quick hit to her neck, telling her to take a little rest. Frank, the bastard, shows his gratitude to our guy for taking down the two knights, claiming they were planning to handle them themselves. He even compliments our guy on his godlike skills and can't help but ask where he learned them. But Ghislaine is not obligated to reply to them, so he shuts them down immediately, reminding them that it is none of their business. He then sizes them up, 3 in total, but only the one in the middle is radiating any significant mana. But whatever the case, my guy is ready to finish this quickly. Before making a move, he demands to know who hired them for the ambush. Frank, with a smug grin, brushes off the question, implying that someone about to die shouldn't care about such things. Well, Ghislaine knows these bastards won't give up the information easily, but he has his own ways of making them talk. One of the lackeys suggests severing his head, but the boss shuts him down because he wants him alive, as he plans to break every limb in his body until he's completely helpless. His goal is to leave him in agony, unable to do anything but writhe in pain, believing that the suffering must be as drawn out and excruciating as possible. With that, the two of the goons charge at him. Anticipating this, Ghislaine pulls out a firecracker and throws at them. The unexpected move from our boy startles one of the lackeys for a split second, leaving him confused as to why someone would use a firecracker. That brief moment of distraction is all Ghislaine needs. In the blink of an eye, he strikes, killing one of the goons instantly. The second lackey charges next, but Ghislaine is ready. He quickly blocks the attack with ease, disarms the attacker, and yanks the sword from his hands. Finally, he follows through, cutting the man down as if it's nothing. As soon as the lackeys drop, their leader doesn't waste any time and tries to attack our guy from behind like a coward. But my guy's reflexes are on another level, and he blocks the attack without much effort. The bastard is left stunned, realizing his nearly perfect sneak attack has been completely ruined. Not wasting any time, my guy decides to retaliate. He moves so fast with his sword that Frank barely has time to react. The sword cuts deep across the bastard's throat, and the pipe he had in his mouth falls to the ground. The bastard tries to recover and launches another attack, but once again, my guy blocks it with ease. Frank quite frankly admits that his throat would have been completely sliced if he hadn't used mana. Even my guy is impressed, realizing that this bastard concentrated all the mana around his neck to reduce the damage. It's insane how he managed to pull that off. That's when Frank finally decides to show what he's really got. Gripping his sword as tightly as he can, he launches himself at our boy. But then, he notices the grin on our boy's face. That grin catches him off guard for a moment. It's almost like my guy wanted this to happen. And that's when Ghislaine overpowers this bastard and lands a solid kick straight to his face. Frank manages to land on his feet instead of tumbling over and smirks, claiming that with his mana levels, that kind of move won't work. But then he's proven dead wrong when he suddenly starts coughing up a copious amount of blood. Frank's face twists in confusion as he has no idea what just happened. Even with thick mana reinforcing his entire body, he's in disbelief. How did Ghislaine manage to pierce through his enhancement with sheer skill alone? Meanwhile, Ghislaine thinks about how he never found out about the culprit behind his sister's death. But now that he knows, he's ready to make this bastard pay. He warns Frank to prepare for the worst. With that, Ghislaine activates his third core. The bastard just stares in disbelief, but he doesn't have time to process it, because Ghislaine is already in his face. The two clash at a speed so intense that all you can see are the trails left by their blades. Frank is giving it everything he's got, but it's clear he can't keep up. His hands are already going numb, and no matter how much mana he draws, it's not enough. His sword begins to crack under the pressure. He's never heard of a technique that can boost mana so explosively, let alone with this level of precision. It's like Ghislaine has become a completely different person, and that different person lands a devastating blow that gives a nasty cut on Frank's body. But Ghislaine isn't done yet. He drives his blade into his sister's killer with full force, but he doesn't let him die. There are burning questions he needs answered. Through gritted teeth, he demands to know who ordered the hit on Elena. But it looks like Ghislaine isn't about to get his answers easily from this bastard. The sucker quickly pulls out these sneaky ninja daggers, but before he can throw them at Elena, some sort of threads block his hand from moving further. And the one holding those threads is our boy. Ghislaine decides to give this bastard another chance to talk. If he answers everything right, he promises to sheath his sword. Meanwhile, Frank's mind is once again officially blown when he realizes that the threads our boy is controlling are made of mana. Meanwhile, Ghislain is sure someone of his caliber would know how to patch himself up. But well, not that it would matter if my guy destroys this bastard's mana core. So, without a second thought, Ghislain starts pouring some magic energy into the sword he's already stuck in the bastard's belly. The bastard screams in pain as he feels his mana core shattering. This is one hell of a move our guy is pulling off, because one wrong step and the backflow of mana could cause an explosion and blow this whole area to pieces. It literally feels like Ghislain is trying to self-destruct. But you see, my guy isn't some unskilled amateur. He can handle it pretty easily. Even this long-haired bastard can tell that Ghislain isn't bluffing. With the way things are going, he knows he's as good as dead. When he stares into Ghislain's eyes, all he sees is a bloodthirsty reaper. So, Frank decides to be a little wise for once, and finally slips out the name of Count Desmond, the real mastermind behind these assassination orders. He further admits that this whole setup is supposed to be a pretext to start a war against Perdium and Degard families. Seems like Ghislain doesn't have a good impression of this name, because in his previous life, such underground work was left to the families allied with the ducal houses. And if his guess is right, he is sure that it's Duke Delphine who orchestrated this nonsense. Anyhow, the fact remains that this glasses guy was here to take his sister's life. So my guy makes sure to take this bastard down as well to get his revenge from his previous life. Frank is in disbelief, thinking Ghislain is backing down from his previous words. But our hero just reminds this bastard of all the sins he's committed, so this sucker has no right to feel terrified when it's finally his turn to become the victim. But to our boy's surprise, the bastard begins snickering even in his last breaths. This bastard is sure that nothing will change, even if our boy kills him, since he's already finished the work with the Degard family. He makes it clear that Perdium will perish due to the war, no matter what. Ghislain quickly puts his hand over this bastard's filthy mouth to stop him from yapping. He lets this shithead in on a secret that he has reawakened after dying, so he's not about to let the past repeat itself this time. Those were the final words Frank heard before our guy cranked up the mana core shattering process. The mana inside backflows, and Ghislain directs it into the sky, causing it to explode with a big bang like some twisted firework. Ghislain is also out of breath, but at least all of the people involved have already been dealt with. He then takes notice of his unconscious sister, who seems safe and sleeping soundly. As he just closes his eyes to relax his muscles, a mouthful of blood leaks from his mouth, and he doubles over because of the pain. He reflects that exploding 3 cores wasn't an issue at all back when he was the Mercenary King, but his weak body is limiting his potential this time. But this is still not enough to make him back down. He quickly rushes to a nearby home where he finds a dead body. In his previous life, the officials had found another body besides Elena's at this place, and according to what Frank said earlier, this body is apparently the son of Degard. There's also another dead body, the escort knight who was killed in the process. This is apparently how the Perdium family in his previous life came to the conclusion that Degard family must be the one involved in the assassination of Elena. The moment these bodies were found, the war would start. So Ghislain decides to leave no evidence behind. After torching the entire house,